Tetiana.
Irina.
Hi.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you for coming here today for my first showcase #1.
Thank you.
show.
That's an honor.
You're going to be my first guest. Would you like to have some coffee?
That would be great. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, please have a seat.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I would like to have cappuccino.
Please. And for me verlangen een beetje verlengen. Dus vielen Dank.
Thank you. So, have you been here before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Do you want to know the story a little bit about what Hotel Imperial is made of?
Yes, please.
Well, let me tell you. The hotel was built 159 years ago.
Really?
Yes, and it was supposed to be a residence for a happily married couple. And the couple was Philip, the Duke of Württemberg, that's nowadays Germany, yeah, and his Archduchess, Maria Theresa. So they had this wonderful place for themselves. And then City Council of Vienna was getting ready to change an infrastructure here. And they decided to build a large road behind this building. And they didn't make Archduchess happy because she had her gardens here. So they were very disappointed. I couldn't really do anything about it. And I moved out and sold this place to somebody else. And that somebody else eventually gave this place, or sold it, I guess, to the Franz Joseph, the last emperor of Austria, who was getting ready for Vienna World Trade Fair. That was in 1870. It was supposed to set Vienna on a cosmopolitan flair, a new level. It was a lot of going on, a lot of money being invested. So they turned this place into the hotel. So the Hotel Imperial is one of the first hotels in Vienna actually created for this show. And the first time it opened, it had 40 rooms.
Wow.
And today we're going to go to one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you and I are going to have a dialogue so I can shine a light on you.
Thank you. Looking forward to that.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. How high are your heels?
10 centimeters.
10 centimeters. Wow, but you do a nice walk in those. I can't imagine myself doing that.
That's a lot of practice.
That's a lot of practice, huh? Excellent. Wonderful is this here, huh?
It's really beautiful.
It's like a walk of fame. I like the flowers.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Nice welcoming. So, Tatiana, who are you?
Well, first of all, I'm a corporate flight attendant. I have been doing this for 15 years. And I also an author of Corporate Flight Attendant Handbook called Checklist. And now I'm also IATA certified trainer, and I'm teaching how to become best in class.
How to become best in class. You teach?
Yes.
You teach other flight attendants?
Yes.
How to become a very professional private jet flight attendant. What is this?
I'm teaching everything what is related to this profession. Not only what to do on a private jet, but also what kind of background knowledge they need in order to become best in class. Yeah, sometimes it involves knowledge of food, knowledge of wine, some hospitality tricks that we see, for example, when we come to such amazing places like this hotel and so on. So we can reproduce this on board of a private jet as well for our passengers. So this is what I'm teaching.
So let me ask you, did you start as a flight attendant? How did you came to the situation that I am a flight attendant now?
Well, I can say, unlike many girls in this industry, I have never dreamt of becoming a flight attendant.
Okay.
It just happened. I was working in the office, and I was helping as a manager in the office. I was helping with the purchase of private jet. And then I was appointed to be responsible person for this private jet. And I wanted a little bit fun. That was interesting, but it's boring to sit in the office and just check all the invoices and take care of the schedule, then everything goes smooth. So I asked to fly as a flight attendant also on this private jet. Okay. And that's how I became a flight attendant.
So you were working for a high net worth individual who purchased an aircraft, and you were taking care of the transactions and everything that had to do with purchasing of an aircraft. But at some point, you moved from sales to flight attendant. It's an unusual way of building a career, right? It's vice versa, right?
Yeah, usually normal ways to start in a private jet, and then you move to the office. And I did completely different. So I started in the office. I worked for a few years in the office. Then, when I was flying as a flight attendant, I also did a little bit of, let's say, office duty. But at some point, I decided that I like it more just to fly around.
So you were looking at the invoices and things that were going on in the office, and then you thought, let me just place myself physically in the aircraft and let's go from there. Discovered that there's a job of flight attendant. It's actually a lot of work, right?
Yes, but I was lucky because I believe that I had a really nice transition. So I started with the smaller jet and slowly was coming to long-range aircraft, and that helped me also. And that was a great experience as well, because now I know, even in the book, it was easy for me to write how to work on different kind of planes, because I went through that as well.
I've read your book and I really liked it. It's beautifully written, all well structured, and it's not only about how to serve somebody food or glass of champagne. It has a table of contents that is quite thorough. So congratulations on accomplishing such a high achievement. I mean, not everybody gets to write a book. And what I heard about your story right now, I figured you must have been that person that hadn't had prior experience to what you had to do. So you were thrown into this cold water, or I don't know, in the clear sky, you should say it in business aviation, right? And you had to make notes to everything that you do, and you were doing it for yourself, right?
Yes, that's how it started. So I was trying to get as much as possible information about everything, about fine dining, about wine, about the food, about different jets, because you come to a different plane and you need to know how everything operates in the plane. So I had plenty of notes actually, and then I wanted to put them all together in one file, let's say, and that file was really big. One of my colleagues, she saw this and she said, you know, that it's a really nice summary of all information which is useful for our job, so maybe you can share it also with others. And this is summary of it, but it has only, it is a master plan, I would say, like a perfect work scenario. So if you do it this way, your flight will be very smooth, you will be always one step ahead of everything, and you will be still prepared for something unexpected, which is normal in our job.
Ad hoc is always that, we use this term all the time when we talk about business aviation, because flight can happen 2 hours from now and you have to be ready for that, and you have to have a master plan, as you said.
It helps a lot, for example, also in case passenger comes earlier to the plane, and when you have structure in front of you, in front of your eyes, you know, okay, this is important, this is I have to do before the flight, this I can skip for later, this is not so important, let's say, this is something we can work with, because you are always limited with time and space. That's typical for us.
Interesting. Maybe we should dive in a little bit more in your book. Can I look at the table of contents?
Sure.
Okay, but that's not the original one.
That's the second edition already.
Okay.
So the original one existing only in one copy. It's really massive, I would say.
I know, I saw it on your Instagram.
Yes.
I think, I don't know, some pages down to the history, but it was just really this thick. So
yes,
from that to a very skimmed out, a very nicely done book. So let me take a look at this. Okay, so you have the first one, it's professional image. You look beautiful, by the way, for today's interview. Is this something you take some time to write about when you're addressing the flight attendant and the way she looks or the way she presents herself? Is that important?
I might sound a little bit old-fashioned, but I believe that we need to look professional, and it helps a lot. I can say from my experience it helps a lot. When you look professional, people take you as a professional flight attendant. So always proper dress, proper makeup, proper jewelry, and so on, and it helps a lot. That's why I also share this information from my experience, because that helped.
Okay, so it starts with importance of grooming yourself.
Yes.
And then
We represent the company.
you represent the company, not yourself.
Well,
As well.
we show our personality, definitely.
Okay.
But nevertheless, we represent the company, especially if you fly for a big company, that you need to somehow show the picture, that company wants to, the impression that company wants to make for the guests.
Being the face of the company, it's definitely a task that every one of us does when we work for somebody or for someone or for the company. Good. Let me ask you a little bit about the pre-flight duties, because we start with page 15 and then only at page 61 there's another chapter. So you have about good 40 pages of pre-flight duties, which I don't really talk much about it, and nobody does. What is the pre-flight? What are the highlights of it? Why is it important to know about it?
The main task during pre-flight is to order the catering. That's why I created a structure which helps to understand how many portions, what kind of food, especially if you don't know passengers. So you can create a menu which anyway will fit their needs, even though you don't know them, for example. So I made it a little bit in mathematic way, I would say, like algorithms,
An estimate.
like matrix, yeah.
Okay.
So it helps, especially for newbies. It's really handy because they see the structure until they get the meaning, which come later with experience. So that's why I dedicated so many pages for that, showing examples of different catering orders for different kind of flights and so on.
Okay. Well, let me just spot a few themes that I saw, and it was just for me very interesting. You talk about catering order guidance, what to order, starters, main course, maybe something sweet. I don't know what the passengers will be willing for. Then you move to long-range flight menu. That's a lot of catering, I suppose. What is the long-range flight?
Well, for long-range flight, usually we need 2 meal service.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay.
And then usually one is bigger, one is smaller, but it all depends how long the flight is. But we need to keep in mind that we need to have 2 meal service. So let's say dinner and breakfast, or lunch and dinner, and so on. So that's the biggest difference with flight for 1 meal or short flight with only snacks and so on.
So if you have one person for the long range, you have to have 3 meal options, at least.
It used to be that way.
Okay.
But I would say new tendency in our industry is more like fixed menu. So we used to have good options for like 3 different starters, 3 different main courses, 3 different desserts. But we don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Now it's more about nicely thought through menu with less options, but something that complements each dish.
Trendy. I was talking to you before this interview, and you told me that there's a special procedure that you do, and it's called welcoming set or welcoming table. Do you want to talk about what's welcoming? How do you welcome a passenger on board? What is this trend? What is the standard for it?
It depends a lot on operation, if passengers want it or not, because a lot of passengers, they just don't want to have anything pre-flight. But the idea of welcome is to give something small as a welcome. So they come on board, they board, and something is waiting for them already.
Is that food?
Yes, food or drink, something. So the idea, again, that I teach in my book, that it has to be something bite-sized. So you don't need to set the table in order to eat it, yeah? So it has to be something that they can just pick up, like finger food.
Okay.
And quickly have. It can be sweet, it can be savory, it can be drink, like some kind of smoothie, for example. If it's a morning flight, it can be orange juice in small glasses, for example. So you always adjust it to the flight, to the passenger, to the aircraft, to the destination. Sometimes you had some challenging destinations where it's not so easy to do something like that. So you need to be creative.
Okay. You wrote interesting things about the service, and you called each service something differently. And I remember you mentioned something like American service, or European service, or family service. What are these services?
So this is theoretical information, which is really handy during the flight. So there are different types of services. You can have American service, which usually we call a la carte, when food is individually presented for each passenger. So they would tell you what they would like to have from the menu. You pre-plate it on the individual plate in the galley, you bring it to the cabin, and they enjoy it. So this is typical service, I would say, for European passengers. This is the way they like to eat. Also American passengers, for example. Then you have other type of service, which is family service, when you have bowls or platters in the middle of the table and passenger help themselves. So this kind of family service is very common for countries, for passengers from the countries ex-Soviet Union, for example, or Middle East, because they like to share food, especially if they are flying with their family, with their friends. For them, it's part of their nature, I would say. So then you need also to adjust and bring them. They, especially passengers from Middle East, they like when there is a lot of food on the plate. Yeah. So if you bring them this gourmet-style, nicely plated individual plate, they might be also offended, because they want to see a lot of food. For them, this is the sign how it's supposed to be. That's why you need to adjust a little bit. And then there is other type of service, like butler service, which you can also utilize, let's say, pre-flight, when you want to distribute them some snacks or some drinks, for example. You go with the tray, you have some drinks or some food, napkin, and you just go through the cabin, passenger help themselves. Then you do another round just to collect the empty glasses or empty bowls, and that's it. So this is, I'm just showing how theoretical information can help you be even more creative and impress even more your passengers. And I would say that the top notch, if you can do a silver service on board of the aircraft, when you can serve your passenger from the platter, you know, it's nice. Let's imagine situation. Your owner or your lead passenger is having very important guests on board that sometimes you feel it that you need to impress.
You get a list of passengers, though. You already know what to expect.
Yes.
Mostly.
Let's say now we would talk about the situation that we know the passenger, we are flying with the owner, and we know that he has very important guests on board. So he would like to show them, to welcome them and show his hospitality.
Or status.
Or status, yes, exactly. So what you can do in this case, you would set the table, and then you would have a platter with dishes, and you would serve with tongs, you would serve every passenger, you know, you put this food in their plate. It looks very elegant when you know how to do it. And
what is that called? Silver service. Silver service. That would be the best.
That's, yes.
The top notch to check if the flight attendant knows her business well.
Well, this is what we get in most known restaurants, let's say, yeah, when they prepare the food in front of you, when they give the food like this. So it's nice to know and nice to utilize.
Well, you're clearly very passionate about service itself, the dining, the pairing of drinks together, even cooking something little, I guess, in front of the passenger to impress them. But here's what I think about it. When usually you explain to somebody, or you tell somebody that you're a flight attendant, that's what people tend to think. They go, oh, okay, you just serve nice food, you just know wine sorts, and you're just in terms of hospitality there. But it's not the whole thing about a flight attendant. It's what makes a flight attendant to be a flight attendant. Interesting thing is safety, for example, on a private jet. That's something that a regular flight attendant does. Is that the same for business aviation?
Well, most of us, we do the safety training as well, and since you brought this topic,
I did.
I can I can also give you a really, really nice example which saved lives of passengers. So there was this year, in the beginning of this year, there was an accident in Florida. When
With you?
No. With
okay, something different.
Yes. It was American operator, American crew and American passengers, but they crashed and both pilots died. Just because flight attendant was trained, she was experienced, and she was, let's say, quick in her thinking, she managed to rescue both passengers. There were 2 passengers on board.
Oh, she saved lives.
Yes, because the problem was it was a tricky situation. The main door was jammed. She couldn't open it. The emergency exit she couldn't use just because there was a fire on the engine. Because the reason for the crash was that both engine caught fire. And but she managed to rescue everyone through the baggage door.
Okay.
And why? Because she was trained. She knew how to operate it, and she knew that it's officially it's not an emergency escape route, but she took it and it saved life. And I'm going later this week to NBAA in
It's a
Las
month
Vegas.
of October. Okay.
Yes, and this flight attendant will be actually rewarded there.
Okay. Well, my congratulations on the flight attendant who saved lives. This is really important.
So it's not always about the food.
Okay. So let's say I'm a flight attendant and I bought your book. I've read it, absolutely love it. Okay, that would be for me the end of my education, right?
No.
No?
Believe me, I'm in this profession for 15 years and there are still so many topics I need to learn. There will be definitely passenger or a flight that you have to learn something new or do something new. So it's never ending process.
Is there any other achievements that you have done in the recent times that you'd like to share?
Yes, I'm now also IATA certified trainer. So I'm teaching also other flight attendants, beginners and also seasoned one.
Okay.
So after I received my diploma, I designed 2 different courses, which consist other courses, but 2 directions, let's say, like fundamental training and advanced training.
2 courses that you are offering right now as we speak. So anybody who watches the conversation can then find you either on Instagram or social media. How long are these courses?
Depends. If it's going to be for individuals, then let's say 3-5 days. If we are talking about fundamental training, because there are a lot of information that they need to know, like theoretical information and then some practical knowledge as well. And if it's advanced, then of course it's less, because we know that they have already the basis, they know how to work, and then we just give them some recent trends, some extra information, how to become even more organized on board of a private jet and so on.
May I just cancel your first initial training and go to advanced?
Well, the fundamental training has a purpose. It gives everyone the same base. There is such a thing, especially for the companies, for the charter companies, as a consistency in service. So it doesn't matter who is flying with you.
Okay.
I mean, which flight attendant is flying, but service will be the same. So if somebody is calling sick and you need to replace...
Oh, I see what you're getting into.
For the passenger, nothing will change because the consistency of service will be the same. And this usually comes with the basic training. And this fundamental training is the basic training to bring... It's not basic, it's still pretty advanced.
Okay.
If somebody is following the book...
So I can't skip it.
You can't. Well, you can try, but if you want to become best in class, then you should.
Okay, that's a question of a price of the training. But okay, let's say I am lead cabin crew, or I'm a CEO, and I would like to upgrade my staff with your training. Let's say I have 5 flight attendants. Can you teach 5 flight attendants at the same time?
I'm a big fan of small groups.
Okay.
Because then you get a lot of feedback and you make sure that everyone understood and they ask questions and so on. I would say not more than 10 in a classroom. And okay, since you brought the topic of the company,
I did.
It's gonna be even better because then it will be customized. So I would first come with like training needs assessment. So I would like to learn what exactly you would like to change in your service as a company. Yeah, what?
So you don't want to push me something you would like. If I was an operator, you would talk to me to find out what makes my company unique and bring it into the service. Is that where you are? Am I going the right direction?
Yes, I would say that I would help you to create your service signature or something like this. So
like
because
that.
everyone is different, you can be located in different countries, flying with different passengers. So it
Cultures.
cannot be standard like you use for everyone. Yeah. So you need to get into details and see what kind of aircraft you are flying, because you cannot do everything on every type of aircraft. Some aircraft offers you more possibilities, some less, but it doesn't mean that the service can be worse if you don't have, let's say, oven because you have only small jets. You still can make something interesting for your passenger that they will remember you for. So that's why I would like to start with the companies first, with the, this training needs assessment, just to see the gaps and also some advantages, and then discuss what you would like to highlight in your service. And then I would come with some ideas. But anyway, even here I would start with fundamental. Maybe it will be faster, because I would know that, okay, your flight attendants are already flying, they know the basics how to fly, so we just bring them to the same level. So then we make sure that there is a consistency in service, as I said, and after that we can do some upgrades as well.
The initial training that you were talking about sets all flight attendants on the same platform. Each flight attendant learns exactly the same routine, the same structure, the same way what the other learns.
It's like a protocol.
It's a protocol, okay, I get it. So if one is sick, for example, and you have to ask another flight attendant to cover for the lady who is unable to perform the flight, with this initial training, what it gives me an advantage is basically is that another flight attendant, a colleague, knows exactly the same routine, and I wouldn't say you could replace her, but that's a synchronization, the consistency of the service, that at the end, the passenger is the one who evaluates that.
And something that company benefit from.
I like that idea.
Because they will not rely on one flight attendant who is better than another one, because then everyone exactly, because then everyone will be really, really good.
Okay, interesting. So going to more service and creating a signature, which you said, creating a signature service for a flight operator, for an operating company, is the advanced training that comes into the motion. After learning all the basics, you start brainstorming on what does this company has as a service that sets them apart from the other one. Is that the way the advanced training is designed?
Exactly. We can do like a brainstorming in order to find out what we would like to highlight and what kind of trick we will be using every time with our passenger, what will become our signature. I don't know, maybe it will become that we always have this particular flower on board. Or we have, let's say, we are now in Austria, so we can always offer by the end of the flight,
Imperial torta!
Imperial torta, yeah, or Mannerschnitten to all the passengers. And this is something that, it's something small, but usually we remember these small things. Yeah, it's just basic example, but still you can create something like this. And then when it comes to advanced training, because it's more for the companies. It means that companies always interested in efficient money spending. Yeah, so we are coming to the topic like catering, like stocking the plane. And when there is a system, then usually it affects the cost. So if your stock is exactly what you need, you don't carry more than necessary. If it's thoroughly thought through, so you have what is really important to have on board, it always ends up in cutting costs. And then same with the space, because as I said before, aircraft is usually about space and time management, and you have to be very good in both.
And budget.
Well, that's from the company point of view. I'm talking about corporate flight attendant point of view. And space, for example, again, there are a lot of ways how to use it in more effective way, for example, yeah, how to store everything, that you can see straight away how much left you have of the stock, where you can find something. You know, sometimes you think, okay, it's a short flight, maybe passengers don't want to have beds, but then over the suddenly they want in flight the beds, and they are not somewhere in the cargo, but because you store them in such a nice and effective way, they are still somewhere, let's say, in the aft toilet wardrobe. So you can nicely take them from nice bags, present in front of the passenger this bed without any issues. So there are a lot of things which are like hidden, and this is already the upgrade that we can use.
So flight attendant have a lot of skills that they need to show and to be professional at. And I was looking at the internet, and I gave the ChatGPT some interesting food for thought, and that's what I've got. My question was, flight attendant, what does she do to ensure safety, comfort, service on board on an aircraft, and how can she succeed in her role? And here what ChatGPT gave me: communication, conflict resolution, customer service orientation, okay, time management, teamwork and collaboration, problem-solving skills, crisis management, ad hoc, cultural sensitivity, attention to detail, training and development, and that's where you come in, right? Good. Emotional intelligence, organizational skills. So all of that what I've read right now, I have a feeling that you have to offer.
Yeah.
Is that true?
To becoming best in class, you have to have that. It's essential, because our job is always about something unexpected. That's why these crisis management skills are so essential. You need to be able to arrange everything yourself, so this self-motivation is important. You are flying with passengers from all over the world, so this emotional intelligence, this cultural ethics has to be present, and I would agree on everything that you said.
Why sharing something that you know-how with somebody else? Has not been ever a question for you to say, hey, I'm gonna teach my own competence to somebody else, and then maybe that somebody else is gonna go after me and throw me out of my fame spot or anything like that. What I'm trying to ask you, what is this idea of mentoring somebody? Why? Why that is your motivation?
Well, first of all, even if two of us, let's say me and other flight attendant, will be doing the same thing, still, because of our personality, it will be completely different type of service. That's why I have no fear that somebody will be better of me, or I will be happy if my students will become better than me. Then it means that I have done something right as a trainer.
Tetiana, I really enjoy talking to you, and I thank you for coming to my first showcase. You're my first guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure to have this nice conversation with you. And likewise. I wish you best of luck in your project. It's really interesting one.
And I hope those who are watching us also enjoyed our conversation. And for that, to celebrate it, I'd like to invite you to have a drink with me.
With pleasure.
Yeah? I prepared something.
Do you know how to open the bottle?
No, I don't.
Really? Do you want me to show you how to?
Yes, please.
So let's imagine that you're my passenger.
I'm your passenger. Well, how flattering is that? Okay.
So usually you need to present the bottle to your passenger. I know that it's your champagne, but let's pretend. So I'm presenting you the bottle.
And I have to take a look at the bottle and say that I'm okay with this
Exactly.
choice.
Usually I'm supposed to know what I'm presenting, but since it's your wine, you know better than me, and I have no clue because I'm going to try. So you would present it, and then you need to serve it to your passenger, and before that you need to open it. So usually it's not so difficult as it seems. You need to open first the foil.
The foil.
Yes, and then you have here the cage.
Right.
But you need to place your thumb on your dominant hand.
Okay.
Undominant. And with dominant you are.
I have two dominant hands. Which one?
I'm right-handed, yeah. So you do like this, and you are not supposed to remove the cage. because you never know, maybe it will pop up already.
Okay, it can damage the ceiling of the aircraft.
Exactly. And here, it's a little bit strange that it doesn't look like normal champagne when I try to open it.
So I give you a little bit of challenge.
It seems so. So you're supposed to, you see, I'm just
Turn it,
twisting a little bit the bottom of the bottle, and it goes up.
Voila. Oh.
But it's not enough gas in it.
No?
That's strange, yeah.
Okay. Strange. Well, let's see how it tastes. Okay.
The color is also a little bit strange.
It's a rosé that's been kept for centuries, and today we are just opening the genie in a bottle.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheers. But that's not champagne.
No, it's not. It is not champagne. It's a fermented tea, which is absolutely alcohol-free. And the thing is, I wanted us to have a celebration drink. And I came across a new trend today, which is fermented tea. You know, for a lot of people who are saying no to alcohol nowadays, it's a perfect option because you get to have it in a nice glass and you drink something
in a nice
very
bottle.
healthy. And also in a nice bottle, right?
It's an amazing option also actually for the passengers.
True. On board, right?
If they don't drink alcohol, we still can serve them something like this. And it will look nice, like champagne service.
That's true, absolutely. Do a lot of people right now saying, no, we don't want to have alcohol on board?
Yes, I would say so.
So,
More and more.
it's picking up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's drink to the healthy lifestyle.
Let's
Cheers again.
cheers.